Hello, young scholars. This is Angela Walton-Raji at firstdegreebound.com. I want to talk to sophomores, and I want to talk to you directly. I want you to understand something. For some of you, the academic year is beginning now. Others of you still have 1 or 2 weeks left before classes will begin, and some I know won't start until after Labor Day. But regardless, it is very important that you realize one thing about this year and why this year is so important. Because you are laying a foundation. A foundation. You're laying your high school foundation. You've already gotten some exposure. You've gotten some exposure to a different type of class, different type of school experience in the 9th grade. 10th grade, it's down to business. You're laying the foundation of what's going to be your academic reputation. This is the very year when you're really setting the tone in terms of what you're going to be available, what you're going to be even allowed to take next year and your final year. And let me tell you something, I've worked in college admissions for many years, and when we look at applications, let me tell you something. Now, many people don't realize, you might say, oh, well, I have 3 years to get ready. No, you really have 2 years. This year, which is beginning now, and next year, your junior year. You know why? Because when you are a senior in high school, you start to submit your applications in the fall. Some of you will start to think about applying early because many schools allow you a chance to have early admission. Some of you are having a chance to get an early decision. So that means that the colleges and universities are going to be reviewing your transcript, looking critically at your sophomore and junior year, because you will not have finished your senior year. In fact, you will have just begun senior year. So in many cases, if you decide that you want an early decision, and I'll talk about all of that a little bit later, because early decision is an option for you when you're applying to college. But if you want to apply early decision, meaning that you're going to get a decision from that college or university before December, the only grades they're going to see are going to be your sophomore and junior years. So what you're doing right now as a sophomore are critical. What you're doing now is going to set the tone. Number one, you may be taking honors courses. That means next year you can take the AP. But you've also got to do well in those honors courses. Now let's talk about grades. Grades matter. They matter, they matter, they matter. And I'll tell you one thing. Now, of course, anything below a C, I'm not even going to discuss. If you are that unproductive, then you've really sort of eliminated yourself. It's not even a discussion, a D or a failing grade. It's just unacceptable. But you know what? I'm going to say something about a C. C is a minimum, and even though you may get your transcript or you may get your grade report and it explains, oh, A is excellent, B is very good, C is average. You know what? C is not average. C is not average. C is the lowest minimal acceptable grade. And frankly, I consider them as an admissions reviewer, I won't even say average. I'll say mediocre at its best. And frankly, I consider it poor. Average is not tops. No one actually excels at their game, whatever their game is, with mediocrity. Mediocre? I'm sure many of you have people whom you admire. You may have a favorite athlete. Well, your favorite athlete, if he or she is mediocre, they would not be professional, because professionals do not embrace mediocrity. You should not either. You are bright. You are bright. Say that to yourself. You don't need me to say it, but maybe you need to say that to yourself. You are bright. And the fact is, a C is really not acceptable. It's mediocre, and frankly, mediocre is something, let's take it in another way. If you're going to a restaurant, I assume you want food that is excellent. Or do you want to eat mediocre food? Good gracious, well, what does that mean? Mediocre? You're going to eat something that, I've had better. You're going to pay money for something that's mediocre? Then why should you allow your own personal record to be mediocre. Nope, you shouldn't. Now, I know you have a balance of classes, you've got a lot of things to do, and there are a lot of pressures, I know, to excel. That's understandable. But you know what? I would allow you one C. The rest, I hope, are B's or better. And you should accept that as your standard. As your standard. Now, I know the pressure's there. The pressure's there to be kind of cool and nonchalant around your friends because, hey, maybe they're kind of cool and nonchalant. Hey, see, I don't really care. Yes, you should. And I know the pressure is there that sometimes you have to dumb down, and I'll do a whole video on dumbing down later. But you know what? You have your own private life, and you have your future to worry about. Your friends aren't going to get you in college. Your friends are not going to get you that scholarship. So quietly become an achiever, because you're not there to answer to them. And some things that they may pressure you into mediocrity, then you may want to revisit your friends. And that's difficult to swallow sometimes, because I know you've got to have this certain outward persona. The pressure is really hard, and it is really high for that. But you know what? There are so many things that await you once you start to now pay in advance. You're making an investment of time for your future. It is worth it. C's, barely acceptable in my estimation. Mediocre at best. You're better than that. You are better than that, and you deserve much more than that. So as a result, my point is, pay attention to your grades. They do matter. You have 2 years to make the best of all impressions on the college admissions committees that are going to be reviewing your application. They're going to look at your sophomore year. They're going to look at the rigor of the courses that you're taking. Are they honors? Has this person taken APs as a junior? Are they registered for an AP in their senior year? These things matter, but you have control. When you get in your house after school is over, your friends are not there and cannot control what you do. So I also want to encourage you, take some time, look at your space. Look around. Do you have a good place to study? Do you have a good place to study? And what are your habits? Do you study with music? If you do, I would encourage you to think about that. Now, if you're a person who's kind of freaked out with no noise, you may want to ask yourself, why? Why do I always need to have sound around me? Now, there have been studies, and I do believe that there may be a little bit of validity, and I'm going to just tell you to simply Google the words Mozart effect. Mozart is spelled M-O-Z-A-R-T. Pardon me. You may remember years ago there was a movie called Amadeus. Well, it was a movie about this man who was a genius. He was a musician, and his history is quite interesting. He was a brilliant musician as a child, and his music is still revered by musicians of all musical genres who appreciate the degree and the depth of what he was able to produce. Well, it has been noticed that some aspects of his music can be very, very stimulating to individuals. In some communities, in some places, some schools, some classes, there is the Mozart effect of having some Mozart pieces played in the background that can be stimulating in terms of study, stimulating in terms of creativity. So maybe there's a little degree of validity that may or may not be there. On the other hand, I definitely know that some things that are going to get you moving in terms of rhythm, or you want to get into the rap, first of all, rapping is talking is sound, and when you're trying to read and absorb information, talking is going to distract you. So turn off the music, turn it off, unless you have some Mozart playing in the background. But beyond that, no. I simply say find a good place, find what you need, set up your workspace, and really make it your workspace. Make it your place of creativity. Respect yourself and really give yourself your own command center. Whether it's your computer over here, you have your texts, you have your writing instruments, you have your calculator, whatever else you need. Make it comfortable, make the lighting good, and really give yourself some time. Make it a place that you retreat to when the world has been shut off, because you deserve that. Really put some time and energy into making your learning, and a lot of your learning you're going to do on your own. You don't learn in school. What you do is get information that you take back to your workspace, to your own command center, to start to really concentrate and absorb. And then you go back, you get a little bit more information to take back, to go home to absorb in your space. You can make your learning experience such a remarkable experience. You've got to take it seriously. This is the year to do it. This is the year that lays down your foundation. Your study space should be a place where if anyone comes into your room and they see where you study, they realize, whoa, this young man, this young woman is really respecting himself or herself in terms of acquiring information. And you have control over that. Pay a lot of attention to things. I'll talk to you in a later video about balance, because there is some important effort that you do need to be making in terms of putting balance in your life as well. And balance meaning not just in terms of your curriculum and your choice of classes, but balance in terms of giving yourself a chance to sometimes, yes, close the books, go for a walk, go enjoy yourself, spend some good time with good people, because it's very, very important as well. But this year is critical. Understand how critical it is. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later also about the college process and what you should be thinking about now. What some of the words in the vocabulary that you should have right now, and what you should be just aware of. But right now, know that 2 years from now, college admissions officers are going to be looking at your record, and they're going to be looking at what you're doing right now in terms of laying that foundation. And once you have a good sophomore year, junior year, trust me, will be a natural order, a natural sequence for you to follow, because now you have an academic reputation. You want your reputation academically to be strong, because that's what represents you. Take it seriously. Have a good year. Get started. Don't forget my advice about going to the guidance counselor and getting that transcript, and go ahead and start making some other plans in terms of college visits as well. Have a good year and a good week, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care. This is Angela Walton Raji at First Degree Bound, because you are bound for that first degree. Take care. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.